My initiation into the world of shelf restocking at the supermarket took an unexpected turn, plunging me into a nightmarish reality that lurked within the aisles. The flickering fluorescent lights cast haunting shadows, and as I entered through the sliding glass doors, a set of rules on a crumpled paper in the break room caught my attention. The faded print carried an urgency that sent chills down my spine. Rule 1. Never open the doors for strangers after sunset. The directive seemed straightforward, likely a precaution against theft or vandalism. Little did I know, it was a defense against creatures that roamed the night, seeking entry into the realm of the living. As I maneuvered the cart through the desolate aisles, the hum of refrigerators and distant nocturnal sounds heightened my unease. The shelves groaned under the weight of products, and the flickering lights intensified the eerie ambiance. My nerves were on edge, and I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Around midnight, a rhythmic tapping disrupted the silence, growing louder and more insistent. Rule 2. Avoid eye contact with nocturnal wanderers, their gaze could ensnare you. Heart pounding, I approached the source cautiously. Turning a corner, terror seized me as a figure emerged from the darkness, eyes glowing unnaturally, limbs contorted. I sprinted back to the stockroom, Rule 3 echoing in my mind. Barricade the door behind you. Cryptids may mimic human form to gain entry. Alone in the stockroom, I caught my breath, contemplating the rules that now felt like a lifeline. Rule 4. If you encounter a stranger claiming to be a lost soul, do not believe them. Cryptids can mimic human voices to deceive. The rules began to play off each other, forming a sinister tapestry of survival. Listening for signs of the creature's presence, the store fell into an unsettling silence. Every rustle and creak seemed magnified in the surreal atmosphere. Rule 5 loomed large. Never trust the shadows. Cryptids can meld with darkness, concealing their true form. The rules, like a macabre dance, guided me through a night that had transformed from mundane to terrifying, leaving me at the mercy of the creatures that lurked within the supermarket's dimly lit aisles. As I caught my breath in the dimly lit stockroom, the eerie silence was shattered by the ringing of my phone. The caller ID displayed my manager's name, and with a sense of both relief and apprehension, I answered the call.
Hey, it's me again. I need to apologize sincerely. His voice sounded earnest, tinged with regret. I forgot to warn you about the real challenges of the night shift. Did you happen to read the fine print when you applied?
My mind raced as I recalled the hurried process of applying for the job. No, not really. I needed the money, so I didn't pay much attention, I admitted. There was a moment of silence on the other end before he spoke again.
I'm sorry to hear that. See, when I told you to read the fine print, I meant it. The turnaround for this job is fast because, well, employees tend to disappear.
A chill ran down my spine, and I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. The nonchalant manner in which he delivered the unsettling revelation left me speechless. Disappear? What do you mean? I stammered. He sighed.
Look, this job isn't your typical shelf restocking gig. We deal with things beyond the ordinary. Those rules you found, they're there for a reason. Creatures, cryptids, whatever you want to call them, they're real. And they're drawn to the night. The pay is good because not everyone makes it through a shift.
My heart pounded in my chest as the weight of the revelation settled in. The horrors of the night weren't just some elaborate prank. They were the harsh reality of this job. I had no idea, I stammered, trying to process the information.
I'm truly sorry you had to find out this way. We've lost too many employees who underestimated the danger. Just remember the rules, and if you can make it through the night, you'll understand why the pay is what it is.
Left alone in the stockroom, the darkness seemed to close in around me. The rules, once my lifeline, now felt like a pact with the unknown. I braced myself for a night that had become more than just a struggle against cryptids. It was a battle for survival in a job that demanded more than just restocking shelves. As I huddled in the stockroom, surrounded by the muted hum of refrigerators and the lingering echoes of unsettling sounds from the darkened store, I pulled out the crumpled list of rules. With the soft glow of my phone providing just enough light, I read through them again, my eyes tracing the faded print. Rule 1. Never open the doors for strangers after sunset, I murmured to myself, committing the words to memory. It felt like a mantra, a lifeline in the face of the unknown. The urgency of each rule echoed in my mind, reminding me of the dangers lurking in the shadows. Rule 2. Avoid eye contact with nocturnal wanderers. Their gaze could ensnare you, I repeated, the words becoming a protective incantation. I could almost feel the weight of their hypnotic influence, and the warning resonated deep within me. Rule 3. Barricade the door behind you. Cryptids may mimic human form to gain entry, I continued, imagining the stockroom door as a barrier against the deceptive entities that could be lurking just beyond. Rule 4. If you encounter a stranger claiming to be a lost soul, do not believe them. Cryptids can mimic human voices to deceive. The words rolled off my tongue, a stark reminder of the treacherous mimicry these creatures employ to ensnare unsuspecting victims. Rule 5. Never trust the shadows. Cryptids can meld with darkness, concealing their true form, I concluded, feeling a shiver run down my spine as I internalized the gravity of the final rule. The very darkness that cloaked the aisles held the potential for unseen threats. As I recited the rules to myself, my gaze lingered on the crumpled paper. Something caught my eye, a hidden Rule 6 obscured by the shadow of my hand. I hesitated for a moment before uncovering the concealed instruction. Rule 6. And whatever you do, do not stay in one place, for they will track you down, I read aloud, my voice barely above a whisper. The newfound revelation added an extra layer of urgency to the already foreboding guidelines. The words resonated deep within me, emphasizing the importance of constant movement as a means of evading the relentless pursuit of the cryptids. It was a chilling realization that staying stationary could make me an easier target, amplifying the gravity of the situation. I allowed the significance of Rule 6 to settle in, acknowledging the need for perpetual vigilance and mobility. With each passing second, the supermarket became an intricate labyrinth where safety lay not in the familiarity of a single spot but in the ceaseless dance of evasion. The crumpled paper, now containing this clandestine sixth rule, became a silent pact between me and the shadows that lurked beyond the dimly lit aisles. Memorizing this additional directive, I fortified my resolve, understanding that survival required not only adhering to the rules but also adapting to the relentless pursuit that awaited me in the night. For a few hours, I stealthily moved from room to room in the supermarket, making sure I would not be tracked down as Rule 6 states. Around 10 o'clock, a faint sound caught my attention, a soft knock on the sliding glass doors. Instinctively, I recalled Rule 1, never open the doors for strangers after sunset. My heart quickened, and a chill ran down my spine as I cautiously approached the entrance. The figure outside was barely visible through the frosted glass, a silhouette in the dark, seemingly human. The tapping persisted, and a muffled voice pleaded for entry. My grip tightened on the crumpled rules as I hesitated, torn between compassion and the ingrained sense of self-preservation. The voice outside grew more desperate, claiming to be a lost soul seeking refuge from the ominous night. Rule 1 echoed in my mind, a stern reminder that the creatures of the night could mimic human pleas to deceive. The security guard's voice became an unsettling melody of desperation, pleading for me to open the doors. As I stood there, wrestling with the decision, the flickering fluorescent lights cast distorted shadows across the floor. I took a step back, my eyes fixated on the silhouette outside. Rule 2 now intertwined with Rule 1, forming a delicate dance of caution and suspicion. A sudden realization struck me. Rule 3. Barricade the door behind you. Cryptids may mimic human form to gain entry. The security guard's mimicry was a perilous charade, and the rules became a shield against the impending danger. With a deep breath, I resisted the persuasive pleas from the other side of the glass. The crumpled list of rules became my anchor in the sea of uncertainty. As the security guard's voice morphed into an otherworldly growl, I backed away, steadfast in my commitment to the rules that now defined my nocturnal survival. The knocking persisted, but I pressed on, moving deeper into the aisles, the echoes of the encounter lingering in the haunted atmosphere. The supermarket, once a haven of routine, had become a battleground, each rule a strategic move against the cryptids that sought to infiltrate the sanctuary of the shelves. As the night deepened, I continued my cautious journey through the aisles, the rhythmic tapping and unsettling silence creating an ominous symphony. The crumpled list of rules clutched tightly in my hand served as both a compass and a shield against the unknown. Rule 5 lingered in my thoughts. Never trust the shadows. Cryptids can meld with darkness, concealing their true form. Each flickering light and elongated shadow became a potential harbinger of danger. I moved with deliberate steps, my senses on high alert as I navigated the labyrinthine supermarket. The hum of refrigerators and the occasional creak of settling shelves heightened my anxiety. The rules, once a set of peculiar guidelines, had transformed into a survival manual in this nightmarish landscape. Rule 4. A stark reminder not to trust voices claiming to be lost souls, echoed through the empty aisles. Around midnight, the air grew heavier, and a distant rustling hinted at unseen movements. The supermarket seemed to come alive with malevolent intent, shadows dancing in macabre patterns. I felt the weight of Rule 6. Do not stay in one place, for they will track you down, pressing me to maintain constant movement. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the darkness, sending shivers down my spine. I instinctively picked up my pace, my eyes scanning the surroundings for any sign of the lurking cryptids. Rule 2. A refrain in my mind urged me to avoid eye contact with the unseen wanderers who might be watching me from the shadows. As I turned a corner, the rhythmic tapping returned, louder and more insistent. My heart raced, and I took a deep breath, summoning the courage to confront the source. Rule 3. A warning to barricade the door behind you flashed in my mind, and I tightened my grip on the crumpled list of rules. I had forgotten to barricade the sliding door from the imposter security guard. Approaching the stockroom, the tapping reached a crescendo. With trepidation, I peered inside, half expecting to find a cryptid disguised as a lost soul or a mimicked form of the security guard. To my relief, the stockroom appeared empty, its dimly lit interior offering no immediate threat. As I hesitated near the entrance, a soft voice echoed from the shadows.
"Help me please, I'm not one of them,"
it pleaded. Rule 4 reverberated in my mind, the warning not to trust voices claiming to be lost souls. The cryptids were cunning, and their deceptive tactics aimed to lure me into their trap. A flicker of movement caught my eye, and I retreated, keeping my distance from the shadowy figure that emerged. Rule 5. A silent command not to trust the shadows guided my actions. The figure, now fully visible, revealed distorted features and unnatural proportions, confirming my suspicions. With a sense of dread, I continued my nocturnal odyssey, the rules carving a path through the foreboding aisles. The supermarket, once a mundane workplace, had become a battleground of survival against the cryptids that lurked within the unseen corners. The crumpled list of rules remained my unwavering guide, a beacon in the darkness, as I pressed forward into the night that held more secrets and horrors yet to unfold. Several hours had gone by. The supermarket, now a surreal battlefield, echoed with the eerie symphony of the night. Every step I took resonated with the weight of the rules that had become my survival mantra. The rhythmic tapping persisted, a constant reminder of the lurking cryptids that sought to ensnare me in their nocturnal web. The flickering lights cast distorted shadows, and Rule 5, the caution against trusting the shadows, held newfound significance. With each passing minute, the darkness seemed to morph into menacing forms, playing tricks on my overwrought senses. As the clock inched towards 5 a.m., a strange energy permeated the air. The rhythmic tapping reached a fevered pitch, and the aisles seemed to pulsate with an otherworldly force. Rule 6, the directive to keep moving, drove me forward despite the exhaustion that weighed on my every step. Suddenly, an unearthly howl echoed through the store, freezing me in my tracks. Panic set in as the dissonant sound reverberated, and I fumbled to recall the rules that had guided me thus far. The supermarket's atmosphere shifted, and a wave of dread washed over me. The cryptids were closing in for a final assault. Desperation fueled my movement as I sprinted towards the janitor closet. Rule 6 became a relentless mantra, urging me to maintain momentum. The cacophony of eerie noises intensified, and I stumbled into the closet, slamming the door shut behind me. My breaths came in ragged gasps as I cowered in the confined space, the crumpled list of rules clutched tightly in my hand. For what felt like an eternity, the sounds of the cryptids surrounded the closet, their ghastly howls and whispers penetrating the thin barrier of the door. The air inside the closet grew stifling, and panic threatened to overwhelm me. As the clock struck 4 a.m., a sudden stillness enveloped the supermarket. The unsettling noises ceased, and the oppressive energy lifted. Rule 1. The command not to open the doors for strangers until daylight echoed in my mind. I cautiously cracked open the closet door, peering into the dimly lit store. To my astonishment, the once menacing cryptids had vanished, leaving the supermarket eerily silent. It was as if the night had swallowed them whole, adhering to the mysterious rhythm dictated by the rules. Rule 2. The caution against eye contact now seemed unnecessary as the threat dissipated. With trepidation, I emerged from the closet, my senses on high alert. The supermarket, once a battleground of shadows, now stood empty, bathed in the faint light of dawn breaking through the windows. I checked the time. 5 a.m. had arrived, marking the end of my harrowing night shift. Exhausted but alive, I stumbled towards the sliding glass doors, still cautious of any lingering danger. As the first rays of daylight spilled across the aisles, I stepped into the cool morning air. The crumpled list of rules, now worn and weathered, had guided me through a night of unimaginable horrors. As I walked away from the supermarket, the memories of that fateful night etched deep within my consciousness. I couldn't help but wonder if the cryptids would return when the sun dipped below the horizon once more. The rules had saved me this time, but the unnerving question lingered: would I be prepared for the next nocturnal encounter in the supermarket's shadowy realm? The weight of the night's horrors clung to me like a persistent shadow, yet the allure of the enticing paycheck overshadowed my reluctance. As I walked away from the supermarket, the dawn casting long shadows behind me, a conflicted resolve settled in. The manager's words echoed in my mind. Employees tended to disappear, but the pay was commensurate with the risks. The crumpled list of rules in my pocket served as a chilling reminder of the price of financial prosperity in the face of the supernatural. Despite the bone-chilling encounters in the relentless pursuit of the cryptids, the prospect of a hefty paycheck beckoned. It was a Faustian bargain, a pact forged in the flickering light of the supermarket aisles. The rules, once my lifeline, now felt like a contract binding me to a nightmarish routine. The decision to return to the nocturnal battleground loomed before me. The supernatural entities might dissipate with the light of day, but the scars of that harrowing night were etched into my consciousness. The supermarket, once a mundane workplace, had become a spectral arena where survival hinged on strict adherence to a set of enigmatic rules. As I contemplated the inevitable return, a mix of fear and determination simmered within me. The allure of financial gain clashed with the specter of the unknown, a delicate balance that threatened to tip in favor of either peril or prosperity. With a heavy sigh, I acknowledged the precarious path ahead. The allure of the paycheck, coupled with the haunting memories of the night, forged an uneasy alliance within me. The supermarket's nocturnal secrets awaited my return, and whether by choice or circumstance, the rules would guide me through the relentless dance between survival and the shadows.